Hey, Newsa-Cast listeners. Just want to give you a little information about the mission of the Newsa-Cast. Our mission stems from the mission of the Red Smith Banquet, and that mission was to support youth sports in the Fox Valley. Over the 57 years of its existence, we've been honored to give out over $1 million to various youth sports organizations throughout the Fox Valley. The Newsa-Cast is looking to continue that mission and support youth sports as well. You can help us do that by donating to the Newsa-Cast and the Red Smith Sports Banquet.
On today's Newsa-Cast, we have a twofer for the people. The dual identities of Lilie Fouts. Or is it Lily Collins? Find out. Tosh and I take an old look at new, which is presented by Raleigh Winter and Associates. Our throwback takes us back to 2014. And that Red Smith Banquet featured the legendary Jackie Joyner-Kersee. We end the show like we always do with a little It's Forgotten and I'm Never Forgetting. So what do you say? Sit back and let's get this show on the road.
What's a bigger high for you, the race or the stage?
I would say like a good race. Like nothing beats the high of a good race, but at the same time, like a really high energy show. Oh, I would say.
Welcome to the Newsa-Cast. What is a Newsa-Cast? It's where we bring local folk stories to life through conversation.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, welcome to another episode of the Newsa-Cast. We're excited because we're bringing you some local talent. And talent not just in sports, but talent in music as well. This is just a fantastic interview that we have with Lilie Fouts.
Yeah, dual threat, Tosh. Dual threat on both fronts, feet and mouth, and finger picking too. She can do it all.
Yeah, you know what? It's great to hear some of these local stories, and you know you're going to be able to catch her as you hear throughout the Fox Valley and around the area all summer playing. But what a fantastic story! Just a great personality, super well spoken. She did a fantastic job. So we're very excited to bring you her story and what she's about.
I was talking with we were working on the Noosa Minute this afternoon, and I was talking with Paul Lecker, and I was because Paul has and I think we tell this story. We've mentioned Lilie several times, not knowing who she is, in the Noosa Minute. Setting records every week. It's kind of funny how it works, but I told Paul that after we interviewed her that she, quite frankly, and I mean, I love my kids to death, everybody's kids, but she is one of the most impressive 18-year-olds that I have ever met, to just be that almost polished on both fronts. And if you do get a chance to see her, she does go by the stage name of Lilie Collins too. But if you, just look at Lilie, she's on the socials, and man, she's worth going to see. She's a legit musician. No question about that.
So yeah, that'll be good. It'll be a nice episode. Tie that in with running legend Jackie Joyner-Kersee and our throwback. So it's a good all around episode. We feel for sure.
Oh, absolutely, Tosh. And of course, the segments are epic, right? A little old look at new and forgetting and forgotten. Who wants to miss those? Right.
And since we're talking a little music here, Joe, I gotta ask you. I see it in your background, but Fish put the graphics at the Spear to the next level, but I think the Dead passed that level and gave it their own special little twist. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah, it definitely was. I have to say I saw more of the Fish's coverage than I've seen of Dead and Company, so I can't really. I don't know whose was better, but holy cow! It's so amazing. I have to go there. I mean, I can't even imagine what it's like. I mean, those seats, Tosh. I mean, the seats are interactive, and we've talked about the sound and then just the visuals. O'Teal, the bass player for Dead and Company, said this is one of the most unique gigs he's ever played because almost for the first time, it wasn't really about the music. He said the music was almost more of support, and he said he kind of liked it. I mean, it's got to just be amazing for those guys too playing.
And if you mention O'Teal, you got to mention his good friend Bill Walton.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So I'm sure Bill was there somewhere over the checking it out, hopefully, because we know Bill loves the Dead.
Tosh, we can confirm that it is in fact facts, right? We saw it on Bill Walton's phone with our own two eyes. O'Teal Burbage. Yes,
absolutely,
100%.
So
verified,
along with maybe another member of the Dead. But
shout out Mickey Hart.
Yep. That was pretty cool. But yeah, it was when you could dive in, and listeners, if you want to dive in and check some of the stuff out, you don't know what we're talking about, it is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Fish did it. I mean, you two had some cool stuff. This is it's the next generation of going to shows. It's interaction. It's everything that you can imagine, the visual and the musical. Hearing it, it could be the next generation of what you're seeing.
Definitely.
So,
I know they want to. They have kind of plans to build some other ones. I heard, Dubai for sure, London. What was a possibility? I mean, I gotta believe somewhere else in the United States will have this. I would think sometime.
Yeah. Probably not Appleton.
No,
but maybe Appleton will have their own twist on something.
Well, you know what Appleton has, Tosh? They have Light the Night.
What's that?
And that's what I went to Friday night, and that was spectacular.
And why was it so spectacular, Joe?
Well, one, because the vibe-setting crew of Jennifer Stefani and the Downtown Incorporated, that crew just knows how to do events. And it was, Tosh, we've talked about the smells. The Jennifer Stefani episode, I even talk about the smells of downtown with her. Man, I've never smelt the smells like I smelled on Friday night. I mean, it was food trucks, and wow, there were some good selections. So many good selections. It was, the food was next level, and it's a unique event, and a lot of fire twirling and slides and just lights and there's music and magic and all of that. It's different than maybe Oktoberfest or the farmers market, but I tell you what, being on the Ave at night with the lights, that's a really cool vibe. So shout out to those guys at Downtown Inc. and they have two more coming up. I know one's in November, the last one. That'll be kind of cool, I think. And I don't remember when the second one is off the top of my head.
And this was it's an all family, all ages type of thing, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Super, super kid friendly. I mean, the biggest challenge of the night was trying to walk around strollers and wagons.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
We're all at that point in one stage in our life. So
I actually kind of miss those days sometimes. Cool. Great memories.
Absolutely. Yeah, I heard there was some good bands and some good music.
Yeah.
And like you said, some excellent food. So that's fantastic. I will make sure that I catch the next one. I couldn't make this one on Friday, but make sure I'm down there for the next one for sure.
No, definitely. That was a good time. So how about you, Tosh? Anything exciting in your world?
You know what? Not really. We're just, wrapping up the lacrosse season, gearing up for the summer session. Give a shout out to a lot of the boys from Appleton United, especially Landon Larson.
Saw that.
Was named Player of the Year for the Bay Valley Conference.
Yeah, congrats.
He had a fantastic year. Picked up his 100th assist, which is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
He and Ryder are like a dynamic duel, and they've done a great job. So I think playoffs start this week.
Yes.
So I know if you haven't seen a lacrosse game, you want to come out and check out some playoff action. Appleton will be playing United. All right, and Appleton United will be playing Oneida.
Yeah.
And not quite sure where that's at yet, but check out the playoff lacrosse because it's a blast.
Absolutely.
Blast.
Lindsay will keep you updated on our Newsa-Cast stuff, and Paul at AppletonSportsPage.com. Follow him. He'll keep you updated, or even just Appleton United's on all the social sites as well. So easy to find. Yeah. Most likely that game will be at Appleton East on some night. So that'll be a heck of a game. And Tosh, we're in full swing now with playoffs. So lacrosse is getting cranked up. The state championships at Sun Prairie. And then, baseball, the Newsa Minute, we talk about baseball and softball, all five Appleton high schools are, this week is the start of playoffs. The Division I baseball playoffs start May 28th. They're a little bit later, but everybody else, all the Division II, 3s, softballs, baseball, they're all playing this week. And Yeah, let's.
Well, yeah, we can't pass that opportunity up to not give a shout out to Kakana softball as well.
Yeah.
100 straight games.
Unreal. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
100 anything is incredible, but 100 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call, Tosh. That was
Incredible
insane.
round.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And obviously we have Lilie on this show as well, and she's a stud runner. I mean, she just set some school records at Xavier. So track and field is obviously they're right in the middle of their regionals and sectionals as well.
Right.
So everything's there. Soccer, it's all happening right now. This is the exciting time, right, Tosh? School's ending.
Absolutely.
Everybody's peeking out.
Yep.
It's going to end in a couple of weeks, and we'll be right there in summer. So it's a good time of year.
It is. Absolutely. Yeah. Get out and check out some of these sports going on. It's a beautiful time of the year weather-wise. And, yeah, just stop by and check it out. You're going to love what you see.
Absolutely. Just like you're going to love the Newsa-Cast.
Yeah, check us out on all of our socials. We're doing an excellent job. Our social media guru queen, Lindsay, is doing a fantastic job keeping you up to date about everything we talk about. So check it out.
Yeah, definitely. The shout outs and the engagement. Follow us. Yeah. All Instagram, X, TikTok. Hey, we're big on TikTok and YouTube Sunday mornings. Check out the Throwback, and you can even listen to the podcast on YouTube. So well, enjoy, folks. We'll get on to a little old look at new and Lilie Fouts after that. So thank you, folks, and enjoy the show. It's that time again, once again, for an old look at new, brought to you by Raleigh Winter and Associates, celebrating 55 years. Did you know that in 1962, an Appleton Junior High School teacher with a strong work ethic started a residential realty company? His name, Raleigh Winter. 3 generations later, the Winters still hold true to a strong work ethic and an excellent reputation in the community. Today, Raleigh Winter and Associates remain actively involved in providing retail, office, and industrial users an affordable, well-designed working environment through the creation and/or acquisition of quality real estate in the Fox cities and even beyond new. So what do you say? Let's take an old look at new.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, it is time for the old look at new, a look at history that we like to give you a little bit of. So, Joe, what are we looking at for your old look at new this week?
Well, Tosh, you know my love of food, our love of food for sure. And last week we talked about the Mongoose building that's going to become now the new Appleton Historical Society building. But at one point, if people remember, that was Alex's Crown, which in the 60s was an epic supper club here in Appleton. So I thought, you know what, got the mind going a little bit. I'm thinking, and then the Appleton Social Society had a little poll saying what was your favorite supper club, and it got me thinking that man, I love supper clubs, and this isn't a deep dive into supper clubs, Tosh. I know you love them. We all have our favorite, but I don't know. I guess I kind of wanted an old look at new, give a shout out to supper clubs, because I know for a fact we're not doing this podcast without a supper club, because the Red Smith Banquet started at Reed's Supper Club in the heyday of supper clubs in the 60s, and that was at Reed's Supper Club on Wisconsin Avenue. Not Wisconsin Avenue, Tosh. Let's try South Oneida Street. That's a little bit better. Kind of where the Red Ox is, just a little bit south of there.
Okay.
So the Red Smith Banquet's born there, right? Starts in a supper club. This podcast started out of the Red Smith Banquet, so we're supper club guys. I also know for a fact I'm not here without a supper club, because my parents met at George's, which is a supper club. Still my favorite, I think. I don't know, what's your favorite supper club, Tosh?
Oh, gosh, my favorite supper club. That's a tough one. I really like the Union Hotel up in De Pere.
Yeah, good call. That's the great thing, right? As the supper club website says, and it's a fantastic website, each one is unique, yet you know what to expect when you visit, right?
Yeah, a good stiff drink.
Yeah.
And good food. I mean, that's basically what it is, right?
Right. They're adult playgrounds where dining, dancing, and drinking, right? That reflects our abundance for prosperity. But anyway,
Absolutely.
Tosh, Yeah, I guess more than anything, I just wanted to give a shout because I know supper clubs are well, we're not doing the podcast. I'm not living without a supper club, and I still love them. I don't get to them nearly as much as I should, but let's raise a glass to our favorite supper club.
Raise a glass to the supper clubs.
That's
Yeah.
right. Cheers.
Great Wisconsin tradition.
You know it. Absolutely. Well, Tosh, how about you? What are you taking a look at this week?
Well, I'm going back to May 22nd, 1968. And on this date, there were about 14,000 fans participated in a little activity, and that was to name a team contest. And that team happened to be what we now know as the Milwaukee Bucks. And 45 people ended up suggesting the name Bucks, and a man named R.D. Triblox, he won a car for his efforts back in 1968 to name the Bucks.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, so the Bucks became the Bucks May 22nd, 1968.
I love that one, Tosh. You're digging up good facts. I love that. Milwaukee Bucks, it's appropriate, right? I think that's a good name. I wonder what some of the other suggestions.
That I didn't see. That would be interesting. I mean, you look at what's going on out in Salt Lake City with the relocation of the Arizona Coyotes to Salt Lake City, and they're going to play with just being Utah for the first year on their sweaters, and they will pick a name. And I know there's a lot of names in the running, like the Yeti. So yeah, it should be kind of interesting to see what becomes of their name. So
you know what I always like I kind of liked the Washington Football Club. I thought, when they had to change their name from a name that they shouldn't have had, I guess, to the Washington Football Club. I think it's just classic, right? Or even back in the day, when supper clubs were in their heydays in the 60s, it was the New York Football Giants, right? You had the New York Baseball Giants, New York Football Giants, and that was their name. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have to dig up and see if I can come up with what some of the other names for the Milwaukee Bucks would have been or could have been. So
yeah.
Good stuff.
Always an old look at new, brought to you by Raleigh Winter. Always good stuff.
Hey, Newsa-Cast listeners, we are super excited to have a student athlete from Xavier High School, Lilie Fouts. We're going to talk to her about her impressive track and cross-country career. She's breaking school records left and right, but also we're going to dive into her music career under her name, Lily Collins, and where she'll be heading to school to run track, cross-country, and to pursue a music career. And we're very lucky to have her single, Beautiful Soul, is going to end our program today. Hope you enjoy this interview of Lilie Fouts from Xavier High School.
Thank you so much for doing this. I got to ask you right off the bat, Lily Collins, is that like a stage name, or do you go by that, right?
Yeah, I just started recently going by it. It's like my mom's maiden name, and I just it was nice to like pay tribute to my grandparents through my name. It also just has a nice ring to it.
Yeah. So I have to tell you this, it's weird how life works. So last summer I was in the Bike to the Beat from Mila Music, and one of the stops, get off in Kaukauna, and I see this girl with just this beautiful voice picking her guitar. I'm like, God, this girl's awesome. She just must be somebody from Nashville that Mila Music set up. I'm thinking, I loved it. It was a great part of the day. Then, I don't know, February of some time, I'm walking downtown with my daughter. We decide to go into Copper Rock, and there's this Lily Collins in front of us. We were front row for your set at Copper Rock. I don't even know when that was, sometime.
Yeah.
And you just blew my mind. I had no idea you were 18 years old. I mean, you look like when you're on stage, you conduct yourself like you're a chiseled veteran, like you've been on the road for a decade, and you never knew what you were going to sing. I mean, you could have busted out a Beatles tune. You could have done your original. You could have done, Nirvana, anybody I felt like was going to come off that stage. So it was truly amazing. And I was literally blown away.
Thank you. I appreciate you listening. So thank you so much.
I do. Well, you have a wonderful voice, and your guitar skills are sick, I think is what the kids say, right?
Thank you.
So Mike Draheim, who we just had on the Newsa-Cast, a few weeks ago, weirdly, to continue this story, I was asking him, who do you have any athletes that would want to join us on a podcast? And he said, yeah, your favorite Saturday morning music girl or whatever he said. And it ended up being you. So I had no idea. I knew you as Lilie Collins. He came back with Lilie Fouts, and I was just confused. But to just blow the story even more, you're just an absolute incredible record-setting runner as well. So you have these two gigantic things going on in your life, and it's quite amazing, really, from this standpoint.
Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to have both running and music, and I'm gonna next year, like in college, I'm gonna be able to still pursue both of them. So okay. I'm really looking forward to that.
That's awesome.
How long have you been training with Mike?
I think I met Mike when I was in 8th grade through like a friend. And then I started training with him like pretty seriously going into my freshman track season.
Okay.
And so now we always work together on the off seasons, especially in the winter.
So when you're working with Mike, when he really got, and we kind of like this, he really got nerdy with us and talked about like what he does with training, like the foot strike and how he trains his athletes. So are you getting that intense with him with training where you're understanding your foot strike, you're thinking about all the mechanics of running?
Yeah, for sure. Like it's the workouts that I do with him are like challenging physically, but also just like mentally, like focusing on the form. He's really big on foot strike, and I struggle a lot with like reaching out and then landing on the outside of my foot. And he has been helping me land like straight underneath me and like pushing off my big toe to have a stronger form, and which has honestly been really helpful in having strong finishes at the end of races.
Like a 69-second final lap the other night, that kind of finish?
Yeah. Yes.
That was a PR, correct, for you?
It was a huge PR, like a 15-second PR.
Wow.
And like 20-second season best.
That's just nuts. So when you're actually running, is that something that you're thinking about? Like you're physically thinking about, I need to push off on my big toe, or I need to have my foot land like this? Or is that just become muscle memory at some point?
It's mostly muscle memory because I think about it a lot when I'm training, but then in the race, like I just focus on running the race. So I think training with Mike has been really helpful in making that form become muscle memory. So it translates well to the race.
As you go back and look through your career and what was the kickoff? What year, how old were you when you were like, yeah, running, this is something that I just love. It's a great escape. When did that happen for you?
Well, I started running in middle school and wasn't very good and really I was like, okay by 8th grade, but then I really fell in love with running my freshman cross country season and didn't really like realize like what I could do. And I started PRing like each race by almost like 30 seconds. And I just like my coach it was a different style of coaching that I had in middle school. And he just made me really fall in love with running. So I think freshman track season I got to go to state as a freshman, which I was like, super excited about and just missed the podium, but it made me want to really train hard over the winter for track season.
What do you listen to when you run, being a musician?
I don't listen the music that I like perform. I don't listen to when I run very much. I used to be really into just listening to like just pop music on my runs, but now I'm getting into listening to podcasts actually on my runs. Especially long runs. Like for shorter runs, I'll usually just, listen to my surroundings, but on long runs, I'll pop in a podcast, usually a running related podcast. And yeah, I've been enjoying that.
And maybe the Newsa-Cast here and there, right?
Yeah, and now the Newsa-Cast.
What is your training schedule like? So you predominantly do the 1600 and the 3200. Those are your main events, and the relay and the 3200. Mm-hmm. So what's your training like? Like how far are you running every week? What's your training look like?
Right now I'm kind of in between like 30 and 40 miles. I like to do like building weeks and then have like a little bit of a down week. It's been helpful with like injury prevention. I usually do like two workouts a week and then like an 8 to 11 mile long run on the weekends, which is my favorite run of the week. I love going out for like an hour long run or more and just, it's really nice. But yeah, just a lot of speed work, and most of it is easy miles, but getting around like 35 miles a week.
That's impressive. Now, do you have, excuse me, do you have different routes around the Fox cities that you run?
Yeah, I love the routes over by Xavier where I go to school. Like there's a lot of like trails along the river. But the other day I was running on one of the trails and I got attacked by a goose. So now I've been stuck to the same roads, which have been a little bit more boring because I love running down by the river, but I'm too scared to go back.
That would be a little scary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it was traumatizing.
Do you so on some of your long runs like that to tie into music a little bit, and we'll get into the song that you just released, but are you thinking about maybe some songs or something? Do songs ever pop into your head as you're running?
Yeah, actually, I can't think of like what song specifically that I wrote, but a lot of times like I think about lyrics and, just thinking over your week and stuff. Like sometimes like a lyric will pop into my head. I can never think like musically without having my guitar with me, but just like lyrics and stuff like that can sometimes come on a run.
Sure. Is your run the only place that your guitar does not go?
Honestly, yeah, I usually always like bring it to school because I'll have like band rehearsal right after track. And yeah, I always usually have it with me.
So we know you're a musician. We obviously now know you're a runner. What else are you involved in? Are you in the school band and other areas to perform?
I'm in my school choir, and we have also a swing choir that I'm a part of. And so that's been a lot of fun. And then I'm also like a part of my school's mock trial team, which our season's done now, but that was like a big part of it was like my winter sport.
Sure.
Was mock trial this year.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
So we had, I interviewed Luke, your sport athletic director.
Oh, yeah.
And he mentions one of the things that he really likes about Xavier is a sense of family. So do you have like several families? Do you have like your track family and running family and then your band and mock trial? I mean, or are you just like all one big group and just really enjoy being at Xavier?
Yeah, a lot of the people cross over, but it does feel like I have these like all these different families. Like I have like my fine arts friends, and then my mock trial friends, and my running friends, and then like just friends in class. But like everyone is so supportive of each other. Like all of the track team came to my choir concert a few weeks ago, which was really nice.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's a really strong community.
That's good.
What do they think about? I mean, not many high school kids are out gigging. I mean, that's got to be kind of cool. Is your high school friend doing that, right?
Yeah, I think most people don't understand. Most people, because I usually gig on the weekends, and my friends ask me to hang out. I'm like, oh, I can't this weekend. I have a show. So, and most people are like, why do you play so many shows? Like that's how I make money, and I enjoy doing it. So
yeah.
Yeah, my friends are really supportive, especially with like the release of my new song. Our principal sent it out to like the school system for people to stream. So
that's awesome.
Everyone at Xavier is really supportive. Yeah.
So Beautiful Soul is the name of it, correct?
Yes.
So I listened to it like 50 times today, and I have to. So one, I'm almost afraid to ask, what is it about?
It's I wrote this song just about like people in my life that had passed away, and specifically probably was thinking most about my grandma. She passed away my sophomore year, and then my grandpa passed away my junior year, and then I also had a friend who passed away in 8th grade. So it was a song for all of those people. And honestly, like writing it was really helpful for me in healing because I was really struggling with like the thought of never being able to see these people again. But I think now that it's released, I like have heard a lot of people telling me that it has helped them with their grief as well. So I guess it's just a song about loss in general.
With a line, I mean, grief is the absence of love. I mean, that's a really cool line. Very just thought-provoking line. That's helpful, I think.
Yeah, that was something that my mom told me. I was just like really, really sad. And she's like, you feel this like intense grief because all this love that you want to give this person can't go anywhere. And all this love that this person gave you, like it's not there anymore. So now it turns into grief. So that's where it came from.
No, that's awesome. What is your process for writing? I mean, how do you write a tune? How does it come to you? How does it finally get to Spotify or whatever? What is that process for you?
So normally I start with just journaling, and I need to make it a practice that I do more often, but just like writing like what I'm thinking about, like a certain like feeling, just like on a page. And then I usually write a guitar chord progression that kind of like matches the vibe of, or like the feeling of the song. And then that's where I then create a melody and then take like lines from my journaling and put it into my song. So sometimes different things come first. Like sometimes I write a chord progression. I'm like, this chord progression needs these kind of words. So then I'll do that. But usually I start with journaling. And then I started working with my producer, Marcus Van Diat. He used to live in Nashville and moved back to the Fox Cities. And he's been really helpful in me like recording my music. So he produced everything, and we're starting to co-write a couple more songs together to make an album. And that process, we're like writing the melody and the lyrics at the same time, which is a little bit different.
Sure.
A lot of fun.
So in your journal, when you're journaling, is it just maybe filled with phrases, just filled with thoughts? And then when you're constructing a song, you're kind of pulling this phrase kind of fits what I'm thinking?
Yeah. So some of like the stuff I journal, it's like really straightforward sentences, like not lyrical at all. But then sometimes I'll like make notes underneath that and try and come up with like a lyrical way to say
sure
what I'm feeling. Yeah.
Have you always had that talent? Has that come to you your whole life?
I would say definitely not. And I feel like even now I struggle with lyrics. It's probably the hardest part of songwriting for me. I started like getting a little bit into songwriting my like 8th grade and freshman year, but didn't really like start to dive into it until probably like this year and last year.
In listening to just, or maybe some of the interviews with some of the quote great songwriters or whoever, they just talk about songs, just bubble out of them, or they can just, they just explode out of them in some sense. Can you kind of feel that in you? Do you feel that you have songs and things in you? Yeah,
I like heard once that like the song, like it's already there, and like you just need it like needs to like come out of you in a sense. Like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but sometimes like I sit down and try to write a song and nothing happens, and like I feel like I'm stuck. But then I'll sit down a different night and I'll craft like almost an entire song in a half hour, and it's like the same. They were the same songs, but just one day like the creativity sparks and the song is like ready to become a song, and the other time it's not. So like I feel like sometimes I don't feel like the song is like bubbling out of me, but then there's other days where I sit down. I think Beautiful Soul was one of those where I'd wanted to write a song about my grandma for so long and nothing was happening. And then one day I sat down and I was just like listening to old like voicemails from her, and I was all of a sudden like the chorus came. And so in that sense, yeah, like it was just, the song was ready and it was like bubbling out of me.
Inspiration can come anywhere, really, in any form.
Yeah. And it's and you can never predict when it's going to come either.
Oh, I love that.
So when you, when did you start singing? What age?
Probably like around 8 or 9.
Okay.
I think I started playing guitar first. And then I would do like open mics and I would just play guitar and not sing. And then I was like, this is kind of weird. I'm going to start singing. So then I started taking voice lessons. I was probably 9, I would say.
Wow.
How old were you when you started playing guitar?
7.
And how, what was it like growing up at 7? Was your house full of music? Are your parents big into music? How do you pick up a guitar at 7?
Not really. My parents weren't into music. I asked for a guitar for Christmas because I wanted to be like Justin Bieber.
Sure.
I remember that was my goal.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. And my parents just got me with the best guitar teacher. He used to be like a touring musician and like played for a lot of like big country artists. And then he settled down in Appleton and opened like a teaching studio. And so working with him was like super helpful because he gave me so many performing opportunities, like starting at like 8 and 9 years old, which made me like a more comfortable performer today.
So at 8 and 9 years old, you're on stage playing guitar.
Yeah, I would actually play open mics at Copper Rock.
Yeah.
Where you saw me. That's where I played my first show.
Wow.
What's that feeling like? I mean, were you just hooked instantly, or were you just absolutely petrified?
I was terrified. I did not like performing. I don't remember much about it, but I just remember like wanting to throw up and like going like to the back of the coffee shop and running my song like over and over and over again because I was so nervous. And thankfully I don't get that nervous anymore.
So as you look, you're going to Nashville, going to school. This is a big music place, obviously. How are you going to continue playing gigs and go to school and everything else? What's that look like for your future?
It's something that it probably is the part that makes me most nervous for college, but I think I'll be able to, like Belmont's cross country team, they practice in the mornings. So I think in the afternoons and evenings, I'll be able to play some shows. I think I'll do a lot of like networking just in school.
Sure.
But then I know like playing on Broadway is like probably like the stereotypical like Nashville music scene. And which is like a good way to make like extra cash like for gigging and stuff. And I have a few like music friends that I've met from going to Nashville or like Nashville artists that have come to the Fox Cities that I know. So I'm hoping to reach out to them and maybe get a couple of gigs that way too.
Belmont was was that like your number one? This is what I need to do. This is where I want to be. Was there anything else in your view as far as going to college?
Yeah, Belmont, like ever since I was a freshman, Belmont was my dream school. I was researching like music schools that have D1 running because that's what I wanted. And Belmont was like the only school that had a really strong music program that also had sports. And that was like my number one school up until like my junior year. I started getting in contact with other schools and just being recruited. I was really almost went to University of St. Thomas. They also have a strong music business program. And then also UW-Madison was another team that I was talking to, and was not expecting to want to go there so bad but I went on a visit, like an official visit, and I loved the coach and I loved the team so much. They just didn't have as much of the music scene, so I had to choose like music or running, and I decided to go with Belmont because I had both, so that was a huge plus.
What is your favorite kind of music? I mean, if you're what do you like to listen to? And then I guess what are your influences?
I really like folk, like singer-songwriter, like acoustic type stuff. Also, that's probably where I get most of my like songwriting inspiration from. I'm also kind of into like classic rock and like 70s funk and other like pop funk songs, like some indie bands. But most of my like songwriting inspiration is probably more of a folk genre. And some of my favorite artists are like Brandi Carlile. She's like Americana, and Gregory Alan Isaacoff. It's a mouthful, but super into his music. Bon Iver and and then like for like some of like the older bands, I really like Sly and the Family Stone and Fleetwood Mac.
It's good old. Those are Tosh and I's era music right there. What do you? So going to Belmont? What's going to be your major, and what do you hope for in 5 to 10 years? I mean, do you want your name up in lights and selling out stadiums?
That would certainly be like the goal, but I think I'm majoring in songwriting, and Belmont has a really, really strong songwriting program, and they have so many opportunities for students like play in front of record labels and work with producers, and just like you learn how to like songwriting techniques, and that's a big part of your curriculum, but also how to create a business and like establish yourself as a performer in the industry, which I think is the hard part compared to songwriting, because there's so many talented musicians who just like don't make it anywhere because they don't have the resources. And So I think being in Nashville is going to help me connect with people and, just create a name for myself. I guess my goal in 5 to 10 years would be able to still be playing music and be able to make a living off of it, playing shows. I don't necessarily need to be selling out stadiums, but having a fan base, I think that's like nationwide would be really cool.
Yeah.
I have a really strong fan base here in the Fox Cities, which honestly, like the Appleton area is such a strong music scene. But I think branching out more, just like throughout the United States would be really cool to tour and stuff like that.
Yeah, you've grown up with Appleton becoming a strong music scene. I mean,
Yeah.
Joe and I are a little older, and we know that it hasn't always been that case, but you've grown up with the Mile of Music and just seeing how much music has blossomed in this area. Has that just grew your excitement as well?
It has. Like, there's just so many music venues and people who are trying to bring in new musicians, which is super cool for me, especially as a young musician. Like, people take me seriously, and I think it's because they're looking for like the new up and coming artists.
Do you like playing? Do you have you? I'm sure you've played with bands. Do you like playing in bands? Do you just want to be a solo act? What are your thoughts on that?
I actually really I do enjoy playing in bands. I have been just like in a couple of like groups that have gotten together to perform like one-time shows, and those are always fun. I've played in like jam bands, like I've like Bobby Evans and the Dairyland Kings. I've done a couple of jam sessions with them, and then I'm also in like the place I take music lessons has a program that where students, they form bands with the students. So I've been playing in that since I was about 12. So I've played in maybe like 5 or 6 different groups. And the band that I'm in right now is called Sound Waves. And we're going to be playing quite a few shows this summer, probably like at least like 6 or 7 just in the month of June. So yeah, I really enjoy playing in a band. And actually June 22nd, it's like a huge anniversary for Menasha. Like they're having like a huge festival, and I'm opening with a band. It's going to be called like the Lily Collins Band. And we're opening for Project Pink. And so that's going to be my first time being in a band that plays my original music, which I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well,
That's awesome.
I'm going to go to that.
Sweet.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, Newsa-Cast listeners, you can find every episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Please help us grow by subscribing or sharing the Newsa-Cast with friends, or follow us on Facebook, X, TikTok, or Instagram. A huge thank you to Diggstown for all the music in today's episode. Catch a gig or find them on Spotify. Head over to our YouTube channel to get exclusive content like the full interviews and speeches from past Red Smith banquets. Northeastern Wisconsin Sports Advancement is a 501c3 organization. Our mission is to raise money, provide support, and bring greater awareness for youth sports organizations in Northeast Wisconsin. Yeah, that was one of the questions I had for you is what are some of your gigs coming up here besides June 22nd?
Besides June 22nd, this Saturday I'm playing May 18th, I'm playing at Meat Fest in Green Bay. And then I'm playing Electric City Experience. I'm going to be playing like a set there. I play a lot of farmers markets this summer. But yeah, my schedule is, I don't have it all in my head, but I know that I have a lot. I'm booked pretty much every weekend this summer. So
that's awesome.
I'll post my shows on my social media and stuff.
So logistically for you, what is it like for you to go on the road? I mean, what are you, you're obviously just hauling your own gear, but how are you getting gigs? And I guess, what is that process for you to put on a show?
I get gigs, like it's like I don't have a manager or anything. Like I do it all myself, or like I don't have a booking agent. So I just reach out to the venues that I see people playing at, and like, hey, like I'm a musician. This is what I do. And over the winter, I probably send out like close to 100 of those, probably not that many, maybe like 50 of those emails. And then I really only hear back from a handful, but then those people that respond, like that's what fills up my schedule. So, and then, yeah, it's a lot of like back and forth, like negotiating on a price and a time. And then sometimes my parents come with me to my shows to help set up, but I've been doing like a lot more on my own just because now I play like so much more often than I used to.
Sure.
But I have a setup that I can put up and tear down. It probably takes like 20 minutes to set up because it's just one speaker. And so as just an acoustic performer, it's pretty easy.
Sure. Is sound always the biggest challenge?
Yeah, especially if I'm alone, like doing sound check, I'm always a little like, oh, I don't know if this really sounds good because I'm right next to my speaker. But I've gotten pretty good at knowing what the level should be and stuff.
Right. That must have been your dad that I noticed at your Copper Rock show. I was wondering who that was.
Yeah. He's like my sound guy. So
yeah.
Yeah, he did come along for that show, which was really nice.
And I have to compliment you. You have a beautiful sign, the Lily sign. I actually took a picture of that and followed you on social. So I think that's whoever made that. Bravo to them.
Yeah, thank you. It was actually one of my mom's friends. She has a cricket, so she made that for me, which was really nice.
Very nice. I love it. I love it. I really just wanted to ask, just simply, when you go on Spotify and you see your song or you just see your name on Spotify, I mean, that's got to just be a little bit mind blowing, isn't it? I mean, I still geek out with the Newsa-Cast.
Yeah, that was. I remember like waking up on release day, and I think a lot of musicians probably stay up until midnight, but I was too tired from school. But I like woke up and my alarm went off, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, my song is supposed to be released!" So then I like searching my name on like Apple Music and Amazon and Spotify, and like seeing it there. It was super. It's just a really strange experience.
I'll bet.
So I was just going to go back and talk a little bit about your running and just talk about preparing for a race and, what's that like for you? Music and sports have always kind of come together and they're a big part of our culture. When you're preparing for a race, what's it like for either of them? How do you get into that point where you're getting in that right frame of mind to go on stage or to run your races?
I think like the preparation you do before a race or a show is like honestly more important than like executing it, because being in the right like frame of mind is going to help like immensely, I feel like, for a race. So I already like for a race, I start focusing like the night before, like I have the same meal every night and follow the same routine and just try to stay like really relaxed. And before a race, I'll always like put my headphones on and like put sunglasses on and just like take like a nap, where I really am just like envisioning my race and
Sure.
what I want to be thinking about as I'm running, because for distance, so much of it is just mental.
Yeah.
So being mentally prepared, I think, is really important. For a show, it's not as intense, but I do like the routine of like setting up my music equipment just like gets me in the zone to perform. Like I'll always like walk into a show a little frazzled, but then once I like start setting up, I'm like calm and like ready to perform.
Have you had a battle injury at all? I mean, so many miles on your body, is that, or obviously injury prevention, that's got to be a huge part of your training as well?
Yeah, I actually suffered a stress fracture my sophomore cross country season, which was one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through, honestly. And I learned a lot from it about injury prevention. I've had a couple of smaller injuries. Like I had an ankle sprain before my junior track season, which was turned into like a 5-week injury just because I kept running on it. So I just learned the importance of like when something hurts, like to just stop and address it and then go back to running. And because you can get rid of it so much faster. Like even this season, I had just a few weeks ago, I had like a little pain in the side of my foot flare up when I started hitting a few weeks. I was going over 40 miles and I was like, I took a step back. I did some biking and cross training and for just a few days, and then had a couple low mileage weeks and it went away.
What's a bigger high for you, the race or the stage?
Oh, I would say like a good race. Like nothing beats the high of a good race, but at the same time, like a really high energy show. Like I played we opened like this was a while ago. Like it was one of my favorite shows, but I opened for Lita Ford. I don't know if you.
Yeah,
sure. We
Yeah,
know her.
that was back. I was probably 4 or 5 years ago now, but I just remember like the energy on the stage because it was at the Widener Center in Green Bay.
Yeah,
like the lights and just everything was super fun. But I would say I would have to probably go with racing.
okay.
We talked about your running training for running. How about the guitar? I mean, how much are you playing guitar, especially in the beginning? I mean, how many hours are you putting in the guitar? Endless?
Yeah, I think it definitely gets hard to like spend hours every day on guitar, but I always like on the weekends when I have like a lot of free time, I'll like practice for hours, and that's where I do like a lot of my songwriting. And like during the week, almost every day, I have a music lesson or a band rehearsal. So I probably spend about like 12 hours a week
sure
on guitar, just practicing like outside of shows and preparing for shows and stuff like that.
Do you play any other instruments?
Not really. Mostly just guitar. I do like a little bit of bass in my bands, but I want to one day get into the piano. Is my goal.
Yeah, nice. How many guitars do you own? I think most of the times I've seen you've had 2 on stage for sure, electric and acoustic.
Yeah, that was a new addition. I just got a new Gibson ES355 in January, and so now I bring it with me to all my shows. I usually always just use my acoustic, but I just love the guitar so much, so I always bring it along and do a couple tunes with it. But I think I have 6 guitars. But I mostly just use like my Martin acoustic and then my new Gibson. And then before my Gibson, I had a Les Paul, a baby blue Les Paul, which I played with in my bands, which was also really fun.
Well, so I another music related question, but and especially your age, your group. Spotify, I guess, is kind of the goal. You release content in different ways. I mean, it used to when Tosh and I were kids, everybody hoped to have a record, and that was the only way you could listen to it. Now you have so many different outlets and social media and platforms. I mean, it's different now for you guys. You have so many different outlets that, I mean, I saw you on Spotify. You had your, I think it was, or Instagram maybe, with a video of a beautiful soul. It's so hard to keep track, but I guess you guys just grew up in that era and it's easy for you.
Yeah. And I think having social media and like this age in the music industry, you almost can like make it, I guess, or whatever you consider making it in the music industry, wherever you live. Like you don't have to live in Nashville or New York or LA, because you can get your following on social media, and you just have to know how to use it right. And I'm still working on it so that I can get more followers and a bigger fan base like nationwide. But yeah, social media I started really getting into during COVID, and I think it's been really helpful for me. Just booking gigs too. Like if people see that I have a strong social media following, then they'll want me at their venue.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's a question. This would be terrifying for me, but maybe not you. Have you been recruited to sing the national anthem at any of the sporting events at Xavier?
Yeah, a couple. I've done like a couple of like basketball games, and yeah, I've sang the national anthem like at Timber Rattlers games and stuff like that before, but I don't get as nervous as like before singing the national anthem at my school. It's the scariest thing I ever have to do. Just because like so many like peers are in the stands, and like in the student section, like I have to walk back to the student section for the game. So you just hope it goes well. Otherwise everyone's going to be like staring at you as you walk back. But, thankfully I haven't had any like catastrophic experiences where I forget the words or anything.
That's good.
Xavier sports has been on fire. Well, girls and boys would pick a sport and they're competing for state championships.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
I'll bet. Yeah, that gym is for a basketball game. You pack towards Clark Gym. That's an intimate, cool high school setting, isn't it? It's got to be fun to be a student and a fan.
It is. It just gets so loud in there, and just the energy for like basketball and volleyball games.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Oh, absolutely.
One more quick question. So if you can take a highlight, your highest high from your music side and your highest high from your running side, what would those two be?
That's a good question. I would say highest high for running was cross country state this year.
Okay.
It was a super strong, like my strongest finish at state out of all my years as an individual. And then I remember crossing the finish line and like waiting for my teammates to come, and just finding out that we won the state title.
Absolutely.
Like I just started like crying on the spot, just like so happy and excited. And it was different than the year before, even though we did win 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Just like being my senior year and having like the finish that I wanted, that was probably like the highest high of running for me. And then for music, I would have to say, I feel like my release, I feel like it's pretty recent, but just a lot of work went into it.
Yeah.
And although it may not be like as like dramatic of a high as winning a state title, like it's here, like seeing like my song on streaming platforms and hearing people come up to me and tell me what they think of my song and like how much it means to them, and just that they enjoy it actually means a lot to me, because so much work went into it. And I was really nervous to release it, because I was like, well, I don't know if people will like it, but just like all the positive feedback has been like a real high for my music career.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's not easy to put yourself out there.
No,
yeah,
it's
it's a raw song.
Yeah, you're really vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, good for you. Incredible. At Belmont, are you going to be also running cross country, or what are you going to be doing at Belmont? What events?
I'm going to be running cross country and track. I'm not sure which events like I'll be in for track, if I'll be more like 5K, 10K oriented, or more like 800, 1500 runner. Because I honestly think I do it all for track right now. Like I do a lot of 800s for my relay, and have really started to see like improvement in my 800s this year. But then I've always kind of been like more of a long distance runner. So I'm actually not really sure what I'll be doing next year. But I'm assuming my coach will like see my training and see where I belong.
Sure. Do you prefer running? I guess what's your favorite, cross country? Do you like kind of the? I don't even know. There's got to be a huge difference from running on a track to cross country. What do you like better?
It's an unpopular opinion, but I actually prefer track over cross country. But I prefer the culture of cross country and just like the family aspect of cross country. I love like the season and like all the stuff we do together. But then track, I just love track races. I'm very I like the splits and the like being able to see the competition, visualize it, and like the flat, like it's like a flat track, so it's like an equalizer, and just like the times are what they are. Like it's not like cross country where it's like, oh, like this person runs like a 17:30, but was it a fast course or short? Like you don't know, but like on the track, like like what the facts are. So that's what I like about track.
Is your training? So we talked about foot strike and stride length earlier. Is it completely different on a track?
I think like for cross country, you have to think about your form going up and down hills, which is something that Mike and I actually worked on a lot over the summer. But most of the time it's like the form is, I guess I would say it's pretty similar, like just when you're just running. But up and down hills, it's like a whole nother like technicality that you have to think about for cross country.
Sure. I guess it is just running, right? It's kind of a...
Yeah.
And you're running. Well, we're anxious to watch you run, anxious to listen to your music. We're anxious to just watch your career. Huge things are going to happen, and I'm sure you're going to come back as part of Mile of Music as a superstar, and we're going to say we had you on the podcast one day, long ago, and so thank you and good luck. I mean, you have sectionals coming up and state coming up, and that's coming up here over the next week or two, right? Leading up to Memorial
we have
Day.
regionals and sectionals next week, so I'm really excited.
Next week, both. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Where are both of those at?
I'm racing regionals at Winneconne and then sectionals at Little Chute.
All right. Perfect.
No, sectionals at Appleton North.
At Appleton North. Okay. Excellent.
And not to look ahead, but where would state be if hypothetically you made state?
State's at UW Lacrosse. And I'm feeling pretty, as long as my races go like as planned, I should be there.
Yeah.
Racing again. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, best of luck to you, and thank you so much, Lilie.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Newsa-Cast listeners, welcome to our throwback. This week, we're going to throw it back to Jackie Joyner-Kersee. She came to the Red Smith Sports Awards in 2014. Obviously, an amazing Olympian, 84, 88, 92, 96. Fantastic interview with one of our former interviewees, Dave Edwards. So we get to listen to Dave interview Jackie Joyner-Kersee. And being a teacher, I just wanted to mention it was amazing for her to come. She spent a lot of time at the schools before she went to the banquet and talked with student athletes and students in general in the Appleton Area School District. What you are about to hear is only part of the speech by Jackie Joyner-Kersee. The entire full interview is on our YouTube channel. Just search Newsa-Cast or check out the link in the show notes. Head over to YouTube and watch the entire speech of Jackie Joyner-Kersee. Enjoy.
Red Smith Sports Awards. Banquet Throwback.
The Red Smith Award, of course, goes to someone who has made some unique contributions to sport in Wisconsin, and also epitomizes the great values that Red Smith exhibited.
Let's give a Red Smith welcome.
Welcome to our stage, the Shield Sports Nice Gal Award winner, Miss Jackie Joyner-Kersee. It's all you. Welcome.
Thank you.
How's watching? Can you hear okay? Can we hear Jackie?
Turn me on.
There we are. Didn't want to start another cell phone commercial here. How does watching that video make you feel?
Oh.
Nostalgic?
Yes, but it brings, tears to my eyes, but in a good way. Mm-hmm. Because I lived through it, and how blessed I've been, and not just for myself, but for all the people who work with me to reach my goals and to see it. And, I look at the video, I'm like, oh God, many different hairdos. And
yeah, I was going to mention the youth one there was spot on.
Yeah,
that was When people say Jackie Joyner-Kersee, one of, if not the best female athlete of all time, how does that make you feel?
it makes me feel good. But I've always been one to keep things in perspective and to know that the reason I've been able to do the things that I was able to do was because of the hard work and all the people, and when I say people, I mean coaches that saw the potential in me that I didn't know that I had. When I went to my coaches and said I wanted to go to the Olympics, and they told me you have to be willing to work hard. Mm-hmm. And I never envisioned, winning gold medals or breaking records or being called the greatest or whatever they want to call me. That wasn't a part of it. It was just wanting to make myself become one of the best. And I didn't know what all it meant.
Mm-hmm. Where are the Olympic medals at right now?
Are they in a safe place?
3 golds, a silver, 2 bronze.
Yes.
Amazing. And I understand. I know there's a little story to this, but the 3 golds, fantastic, the silver, fantastic, but one of the bronzes may be the most special to you.
Yes, and all the medals are significant, have their own significant meanings to me. The first one, the silver medal, was my first Olympic Games. And then leaving those Olympic Games, knowing that I had the ability to win, but I doubted myself in '84 because I had never been injured. And here I am competing with a heavily bandaged leg, and so that means something has to be wrong. Mm-hmm. And so when I went into the first event, I didn't go there thinking like a champion. I was anticipating a pain that was never there. Yeah. So in '84, after going through the first day, the first 4 events, and coming back the second day, and knowing in my heart that I hadn't performed to the level that I needed to perform at to really earn the gold medal. And so I finished second, and I missed the gold by 3 points, but but I didn't deserve to win because I wasn't thinking like a champion. And brother had just won the gold medal in the triple jump, and I remember I was crying, but I was really happy for him because no one had even picked him. They were saying, "Oh, Jackie gonna win the gold," but he, my brother being the oldest, won the first gold medal in the family, so which is great. But I embraced him, and I said to him that if God blessed me to make another Olympic team, that I want to be the toughest athlete out there mentally, because physically I know I have the gift to do it, but mentally I just wasn't quite ready yet. So '88, I go and I win double gold. '92, a gold and a bronze, and then '96, again, it comes full circle with the games in Atlanta, and I had to pull out of the heptathlon. I had injury in my right leg, and it was tough, for Bobby, my husband, who my coach, and he said, "No, I'm not going to allow you to do this to yourself. I'm going to pull you out and see if you could perform well in the long jump." Right. So it gave me extra days to really try to work with the leg, work with my physical therapist, and so I went into the long jump competition. First attempt, I qualified, go back, rest up, come back the next day, and I'm coming down the runway, I'm jumping, I'm flying in the air, landing in the sand pit, just knowing I'm jumping like 23 feet. I look at the mark and they go, 21. I'm like, 21? Oh, God, I got a lot of work to do. So I go back, and I'm trying to rub the leg out, cross-friction it, and then it came down to the last jump. And this is the reason why the bronze medal is so important to me, because I talk to young people all the time about believing in themselves. When everyone else counts you out, if you believe, you can turn a doubter into a believer, but you got to believe it first. Mm-hmm. And so I stood on the back of that runway, and I visualized myself coming down the runway, attacking the board, and climbing in the air, looking for the tops of the tree branches, to really help me to really get the trajectory in the air that I was looking for. Yeah. And I said, I said to myself, I said, Jackie, you got to go for it, If the leg collapse, fall out, they're going to send a gurney out there and pick you up. But at least give it all you have to give. And that's what I did. I came down that runway. I attacked the board. And at that moment, I was willing to pull every muscle in my body to get the job done because I knew I could do it. And I think having that attitude, I came away with the bronze. I didn't go trying to win a bronze. I went trying to win a gold medal, but I just came up short and was a bronze medal.
I'm inspired. I'm about ready to run around the block.
No.
Is it true that you used to bribe your siblings to have them do chores so that you could go work out?
Yes, you know, in a good way, because my mom didn't quite understand what I was doing athletically, and she wanted me to get a job and come home and clean and cook. I couldn't cook at all, but so what I would do, I would, you know, talk to my sisters because see, they're younger than me, but on the weekends they could go to dances. And my mom knew that I didn't like to go to dances. So what she would say to me, if I didn't do my homework or my chores or anything of that nature, then I couldn't go to practice. So she figured it out. So what I would do is take my 15 cents and I would save it and give it to my sisters, and you know, they would help me out.
You spent a little bit of time today. I don't know if we have some of the pictures. Yeah, we do. You spent some time talking to some kids at Madison Middle School today here in Appleton. What did they ask you? What kind of questions did they say? Jackie, help me with this. I have a question about what?
Oh, wow. You could tell that they had done their homework. They were asking questions from preparation, dealing with obstacles. Some had anyone done anything to you that would cause you to want to quit?
Ooh.
And so I read a lot into a lot of the different questions, and I tried to wrap my answers around informing them that if you love what you do, because one of the questions was like, do you like what you do, or something like that, and I was like, but if you love what you do, and I don't care how hard it is, but if you believe strongly in it, then the support around you will come. That's why your coaches, your teachers, and then if you're dealing with something that, you know, your peers or someone else might not quite understand where you're trying to go, it's not important for them to understand. It's important for you to always know what your goals are and what you're working towards, and then make sure that the environment that you are around is positive and that it's encouraging and motivating. Because sometimes you might think your friends are your friends, but your friends sometimes could be your, we know, your worst enemy at times, and holding you back.
You competed in the heptathlon, and many people probably don't even realize you did it with asthma.
Yeah.
How miserable was that?
Very.
Yeah.
It was, at times it was, I mean, I performed well in the eyes of people, but in my heart I knew I wasn't getting any better. And there were times when I would look like a world-class athlete, and there were times when I looked like I shouldn't even be out there. But I had to really educate myself about the disease, because I really believed like I was Superwoman, and I didn't want to take my medicine like I should have, so I could really control my asthma. And then my attitude had always been that, you know, no one can outwork me. I don't care what my competitors are doing, is that if I even think they might begin a mile in, then I'm going to get up and go do a road run. You know? So when it came to asthma, I started looking at it like one of my opponents. So it was either a German or a Russian. And that and my pulmonologist and the nurse was like my coaches. So I had to really respect their knowledge, and the things that they were telling me were for me to get better. And I realized that, you know, I'm not going to be able to run, jump, and throw forever, but I'm still dealing with, you know, being an asthmatic. You know, I still have to take my medicine still today to keep it under control.
Well, that's good, because some of the Russian athletes kind of talk like I do.
Well, talking is one thing.
When did you realize, when were you did you have to be kind of shoved into, okay, Jackie, we think you can do more than one thing. The heptathlon, look at this, you can do jumping and running, all this. Was it tough transition for you to go from, say, one or two events to a whole bunch of them?
Well, you know, when you're an age grouper, when I started running at the age of 9, I really wasn't one of the best girls. You know, I wanted to be good, and I felt that if I would go to practice every day and see myself improving 1/10 of a second if I was running, or 1/2 of an inch if I was jumping, that meant that the work that I was doing was paying off. And when it came to the multi-events, you know, our coach just literally threw us in the event. I had never ran hurdles before, And I would wear my volleyball knee pads, you know, to protect my knees in the hurdle. So I didn't know. I couldn't three-step. But I like the versatility of the events, and also it's very challenging because as an athlete, you always feel that you're going to master all 7 or you're going to do this one well. But it's a very humbling event too, because at one point you're on a high, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you're down at the bottom, you know. And then in age group, when I was 14, 15, when I won the nationals titles at that time, you know, they would give you a gold medal for each event. So I got one if I won the hurdles, the high jump, and then I go to the big league, you get one for all 7 events. All that hard work, you just get one. But so I just loved it, and it was challenging. And
which one of those events did you hate the most?
Well,
because there's always one, isn't there?
Oh yeah, there's several.
Oh,
the 800 meters. I need the endurance work, but I really didn't want to do it. But I had to do it. The technical events, the javelin.
You still throw the javelin, I hear, right?
Yeah, when I need it for a weapon. No, I'm just kidding. And shot put. But, you know, my mindset as an athlete was that I would say that I didn't like those events, but I had to really change that terminology because a lot of times when you say you don't like something, you perform that way. So I started being like, okay, I'm gonna do my road runs, I'm a javelin, I love you. Shot put, I need you to go out there. You know, we're on the same team. You know, so.
Tell me a little bit about your foundation, the work you're doing with kids. It's amazing.
You know what? I grew up coming through a community center. The Mary Brown Center, and it made a difference in my life. And I really wanted to, you know, help people. And at one point I wanted to open that community center, but that wasn't meant to be. And then in 2000, we opened up the Jackie Joyner-Kersee Center in East St. Louis. We do after-school programs, mentoring programs. I'm a heavy believer in the senior citizens, so because I didn't really know my grandparents per se, or they weren't around, and that through that center I became a part of the Meals on Wheels program, and so with life skills and really just trying to instill hope, but then also to give young people inspiration so they can aspire to be the best that they can be.
Sure.
So that's the work of it.
And Bob's busy too. Sounds like he's doing some coaching himself, right?
Well, yes. We still, well, I say we, but you know, Bobby is the coach. You know, I'm always sidekick on the side coaching. But yes, we got, what, it's like 4 or 5 athletes that made our 2012 Olympic team, and they're training now. They're actually up in Oregon doing training there. So getting ready for, well, a lot of our athletes won't compete on the indoor season, but some of them might do it, you know, just to get ready for the outdoor season.
Sure.
So Don Harper, who is from my hometown, who was Olympic champion in the 100-meter hurdles and silver medalist, Allison Felix, another 3-time Olympic gold medalist athlete. He coached Jenny Crawford, who is a hurdler, Jenna Boo, who is also a sprinter. Then we got some male athletes, so
fantastic.
The list goes on.
And you used to do some hoops too. That was one of your loves there for a while, wasn't it?
Yes.
Basketball.
Yes. You know, basketball, the team sport, I love the team aspect, and I learned so much from it. You know, it kept me strong. And, you know, believe it or not, even though I went to UCLA, but I was recruited by, you know, the Badgers. I came on a recruiting trip. They recruited me for basketball, but I really just wanted to run track.
How was the interview?
Oh, it was great. It was just too cold.
UCLA, Wisconsin. No. Okay, Southern California.
No. But
Jackie Joyner-Kersee, our Shields Nice Gal Award winner. It has been an absolute distinct pleasure for all of us. Thank you so much, Jackie.
I just want to say one thing.
One thing, quick.
I want to say.
Stand up. Go ahead. Absolutely. One thing.
Again, I just want to thank everyone for embracing me, and the trips to the school today was just wonderful. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank Jane Higgins for really being a great friend who told me all about what's happening here and thought it would be great for me to come. And Jane, I love you. I appreciate everything that you do. And I thank all of you for embracing me and showing me so much love. Thank you, and God bless all of you all.
And this is yours, Jackie, right here. If you could hold that up. There we go.
Well, Tosh, another great throwback, and an appropriate one this week with Lilie's accomplishments and certainly Jackie Joyner-Kersee's accomplishments. I think it was an appropriate throwback. Onward we move, Tosh. What do you say? A little, it's forgotten and I'm never forgetting?
Sounds good to me.
All right, Tosh.
I guess I can get it started, right?
Yeah, why don't you start? What are you forgetting, Tosh?
Well, this is something that's like Groundhog's Day. Our listeners may not know, but my son has a 2007 Jeep Wrangler. Nice. And we bought it, and it has a hard top and a soft top. So this time of the year, it's taken off the hard top and put it on the soft top.
Yeah.
And getting the soft top to be in place. So like we're recording this on a Sunday, Monday and Tuesday is supposed to be a lot of rain. You can't really have the top down in the rain. So we had to get that top back on. And I tell you what, the people who designed the Jeep are either geniuses or they're crazy, because every little nook and cranny that you're shoving plastic tabs into underneath and pulling and putting the windows in and zippering, it's pretty incredible, but it's also a little nerve-wracking. I mean,
I can imagine. How long does that take?
The first time you know what? It's only the first time that it takes a while. After that, it's actually not too bad, but you forget about it over the winter, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, we got to get that on. And it's like, oh yeah, that's why I forgot about it. Wow. So it's appropriate. It's appropriate forget.
Very appropriate, Tosh. You have some very meticulous projects with your ice rink and with material. You and material, I think, get very intimate.
Yeah, I'm ready to cut that intimacy down. Yeah, exactly. All right, Joe. How about you? What do you want to forget?
Well, Tosh, evidently I forgot my own rule. Do you remember back in the fall I had talked about the etiquette of holding a door and kind of the timing of that whole thing?
Yeah.
Well, Tosh, I think I kind of screwed up the other day. Again, post office related. I'm going to the door, and of all people I drive by on my bike going to this door are two Newsa-Cast listeners, one being Steve. And I knew as I passed them, I knew that the distance to the door and their pace getting up to the door was, I was calculating that in my head, and I thought, screw it. It's going to be too long to hold the door open for them. And I knew that wasn't the right decision. I roll my bike in, and they come and they confront me with this story that I told, that you were supposed to hold the door open, and I clearly screwed up, and they called me out, and they were rightfully so. Steve and Taylor, right? That's how we get better. We make mistakes. You call them out, and we get better. So I guess I'm forgetting that I forgot my own rule, and I got called out on it, Tosh. So for gosh sakes, everybody, hold the door open.
Yeah, just common courtesy, right?
It is. I do hold the door open. I definitely hold the door open. I just got frazzled in the distance, because there's a distance, right? Or otherwise you just stand there and hold the door for like a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And then you get that steady stream of traffic, and all of a sudden you're there for like 4 minutes holding the door as well.
Right. And,
which is great. It makes people's day. They smile. And that's that's what it's all about. Making people smile. And
that indeed is what it's all about. Making people smile. Making smile indeed. Well, Tosh, we forgot a few things, but what's something we're never gonna forget?
Well, I never want to forget this time of year, going back to this and just seeing all of your friends and neighbors outside and talking to them in the backyard. And, you spend the winter holed up in your house. You really don't see people. Forget what some of your neighbors are. And, you never forget, and you're just catching up and
Yeah.
enjoying company of people around you. So
Yeah,
that's
no
what I
doubt.
am never forgetting.
I love that because I did the same thing last weekend. It was really nice as well, and my next door neighbors are out, and must have spent an afternoon in the driveway just shooting the breeze and
Yeah.
having a good time. The dogs got together, and it was nice to see neighbors. Definitely, I like that one.
Absolutely. And Joe, how about yourself?
Well, Tosh, this is more of a tip of a cap to you and Melissa and to all my teacher friends and future teacher friends I'm meeting. That it's Teacher Appreciation. I might have missed the actual week, but I did see some emails come through saying that it's Teacher Appreciation Week. So happy Teacher Appreciation Week, Tosh. Well deserved.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that was last week.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah,
I'm a little slow getting to my emails, but
That's
I knew it was coming. And no, I mean, you guys do. It's going to take too long to say everything you do, but you guys are incredible. I know you buy your own supplies. You do just so many things that people don't even realize that you do. And you and all the teachers. So definitely a tip of the cap, as Vin Scully would once say. So,
well, we all appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing too, Tosh, that we definitely appreciate was Lilie joining us, and we talked about her solo "Beautiful Mind," and you can find that on Spotify, but you can also hang on and listen to it right here on this Newsa-Cast podcast. So we end the show with Tosh like we always do. It's a hoot, and we end it with Lilie's "Beautiful Soul." So until next week.
Beautiful soul, won't you stay a while? You're leaving this world far too soon. It isn't the same without your smile. No one can fill the hole you left. Gave your everything, expect none in return. Your love an ever-flowing waterfall. Everyone's number one fan. An open embrace for all. They say grief is the absence of love. So tell me, why do you have to give so much and then leave? Time just deepens and sweetens, but does it time stole you away from me, from when you were always there. A call away, right away, an arm's reach away.